Have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator.
The Alberto Garcia case, the Supreme Court said that the administration had to, quote, facilitate his return from the El Salvador prison. He's still there.
Ohio Solicitor General, I'm not now at the department, and the Department of Justice speaks through its briefs on matters that are inactive.
The fact that that Mr. Garcia is still imprisoned, is the administration following the Supreme Court's order?
It does depend. If we're going to discuss hypotheticals, what about a hypothetical in which
It's not a hypothetical. This is the Supreme Court's order. For Mr. Edllo, President Trump suspended the U.S. refugee settlement program indefinitely on his first day in office. However,
Senior advisor.
No.
But I do not know, and that I can tell you, as far as I've seen, the process is the same as any other refugee resettlement process for U.S.
Hey there, America. Welcome back to the channel where we tell it like it is and stand up for the Constitution, the rule of law, and the America our founders fought for. Today, I just watched a clip that's making the rounds. Senator Mazie Hirono grilling some Trump administration nominees about everything from sexual misconduct to following Supreme Court orders and even, get this, alleged preferential treatment for white South African refugees. Folks, you know I had to react. Let's break it down together, patriotic style.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me. I asked the following two initial questions of every nominee before any of my committees to get at the fitness to serve. So we'll start with Mr. Edllo, and we'll just go right down the line. Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator.
No, Senator.
Never, Senator.
No, Senator.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct?
No, Senator.
No, Senator.
No, Senator.
No, Senator.
I think that both Mr. Geyser and Woodrow testified that you would advise the administration to follow all court orders, correct?
Well, Senator, as I've said, it depends, and I realize that that's
Oh, it
frustrating.
depends on what the court order is? Okay, let me ask you another question then. In the Alberto Garcia case, the Supreme Court said that the administration had to, quote, facilitate his return from the El Salvador prison. He's still there. Is the administration complying with the Supreme Court's court order? We'll start with Mr. Geyser and then go to Mr. Woodward.
Well, Senator, thank you very much for that question. As Ohio Solicitor General, I'm not now at the department, and the Department of Justice speaks through its briefs on matters that are in active litigation, and so it would be inappropriate
in your
for me to
opinion,
comment.
you're about to become the person who's going to be advising the Department of the department formerly known as Justice, as far as I'm concerned. So, what do you think? The fact that Mr. Garcia is still imprisoned, is the administration following the Supreme Court's order to facilitate his release?
Well, Senator,
You don't know.
As I said, I'm the Solicitor General of Ohio now. I'm not now at the department, and it would be inappropriate for me to comment on actively litigated matters because the department speaks through its filings and its briefs.
So when you actually become the person at the OLG, would you advise the administration to facilitate the release of Mr. Garcia?
Well, thank you,
That's
Senator.
what the court is telling him. Moving on, Mr. Woodrow, what do you think?
Well, Senator, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to respond. It does depend. If we're going to discuss hypotheticals, what about a hypothetical in which
It's not a hypothetical. This is the Supreme Court's order to the administration. They are confronted with this order right at the moment. Mr. Garcia has not been released.
The question about following court orders is, of course, a hypothetical, and the hypothetical can be complicated. What if a district
That
court
is why, Mr. Woodrow, I asked a specific question relating to a specific situation. Since you also don't want to respond, There you have it. And you know, both of you are going to be in a position to be advising this administration. So I think your responses are telling. For Mr. Edllo, President Trump suspended the U.S. refugee settlement program indefinitely on his first day in office. However, on February 7th, he signed an executive order requiring all agencies to promote the resettlement of white Afrikaners into the United States. And less than 3 months later, these Afrikaners are entering the United States having completed a process that normally takes years. What changes has USCIS made to the refugee resettlement process to expedite the arrival of Afrikaners? And since if you're not there yet, you don't know, you can just say you don't know.
Well, Senator, I am there as a senior advisor,
Oh.
but I do not know, and that I can tell you, as far as I've seen, the process is the same as any other refugee resettlement process for USCIS's purposes.
Why is it that the Afrikaners are being expedited in terms of their being able to resettle in the United States?
Senator,
Why are they being given what looks like highly preferential treatment?
Senator, the president has the authority through executive action and under the
Okay,
law
that's
to
because the president
determine-
feels like doing that. Okay, that's the answer. And are these Afrikaners going to be vetted individually so that nobody's coming in who, for example, shows any anti-Semitic sentiment? Are they being vetted individually?
Senator, again, I can't speak to specifics with regard to any of the individuals coming in, but my understanding is that they are being vetted for...
Individually? Yeah. I hope so, because, for example, there was one who was quoted as saying that that Jewish people are untrustworthy and they are a dangerous group. I would say that maybe that person shows anti-Semitic views. And so your testimony is that they are being vetted individually.
Senator, again, I am not currently leading the agency. I do not have a view into how they are being vetted. My understanding is they're being vetted as refugees have been vetted in the past.
There are serious concerns about why this is happening. And for example, the people who are Afghani are not getting this kind of highly preferential treatment. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
First up, Senator Hirono hits every nominee with her standard questions about sexual misconduct. Look, I get it. These are serious issues and should be asked. But let's be honest here. The left loves to open every single hearing with these questions, almost as if they expect every Trump nominee to be some kind of abuser. Every nominee, from Edllo to Geyser to Woodrow, denies any wrongdoing. And you know what? Unless there's evidence, that's the end of the story. Innocent until proven guilty. That's how America works. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Senator Hirono tries to corner these nominees about following Supreme Court orders, specifically about a case involving a man stuck in an El Salvador prison. She wants a yes or no answer, but the nominees say it depends. And you know what? That's actually the right answer. Folks, not every court order is straightforward. Sometimes, the legal process is more complicated than a soundbite on CNN. The left loves to act like every Supreme Court decision is a royal decree. But our system is built on checks and balances, and sometimes the executive branch needs to look at the details, especially on matters of national security, extradition, or foreign affairs. So when these nominees refuse to give a blanket answer and say they need to see the specifics, I respect that. They're not going to grandstand for the cameras. They're going to do the job according to the law and the facts, not media pressure. Now, the senator brings up President Trump's decision to suspend the refugee resettlement program on day one. She's clearly upset about it, but let's remember why that happened. Because the safety and security of American citizens comes first. That's what Trump promised, and that's what he delivered. But the real fireworks start when she accuses the administration of giving highly preferential treatment to white South African Afrikaners. She claims they're being fast-tracked, while Afghanis and others are left behind. Let's set the record straight. The left talks a big game about fairness, but ignores the reality that white farmers in South Africa, yes, Afrikaners, have been brutally attacked, murdered, and run off their land. If anyone qualifies as a persecuted minority, it's them. Why is it racist to help white refugees, but compassionate to help everyone else? That double standard is something the left never wants to talk about. And let's not forget, Trump's America First policy meant we scrutinized every refugee, no matter where they came from. If Afrikaners were let in, you can bet they went through the same vetting process as everyone else. This isn't about skin color. It's about protecting people who share our values, Christian faith, work ethic, love of freedom, and who have nowhere else to turn. Senator Hirono even brings up one Afrikaner supposedly making anti-Semitic comments, as if that somehow means the whole group is problematic. Listen, I don't care where you're from. If you're anti-Semitic, you shouldn't be allowed in. But using one example to smear an entire group, that's classic leftist identity politics. If there's credible evidence, investigate the individual. Don't block everyone else who needs help. The nominee, Edllo, says he doesn't know the specifics about vetting. Honestly, that's probably true. These processes are handled by professionals, not political appointees. But the idea that Trump's team would just let anyone in without vetting? Give me a break. The left wants to flood the border and let anyone in, no questions asked, but they suddenly care about vetting when it's a group they don't like. At the end of the day, what we see here is the left playing politics with our immigration system and our justice system. They want to score points, not solve problems. President Trump put America first, enforced the law, and looked out for people who actually share our values and need our help. As a patriot, I say, stand strong. Don't cave to political theater and keep fighting for the America that works for all her people, regardless of race, religion, or background. Follow the law, defend the Constitution, and always put American citizens first. If you agree, hit like, share, and subscribe. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the left is being fair here? Or is this more of the same anti-Trump, anti-American grandstanding? Let's talk about it. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.